Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a spring makeup tutorial using my favorite products from the drugstore. Now, some of you may have noticed that my subscriber numbers have increased lately, which I am so happy about, and I want to welcome all my new subscribers. I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad you found my channel. But I do notice that I'm getting, a lot more comments. With the subscribers come more comments, and I'm not able to keep up with them as easy as I used to be able to. So now I kind of understand why huge YouTubers, I've always wondered, like, why don't they comment? Why don't they respond to more comments? And now I get it. They just come so quickly, and they come on not just your latest video, but on all your previous videos as well. So it's kind of hard to keep up. But I just want to say that I do appreciate all of your comments. You're taking the time, and I do usually try to read every single one. And one of the things that I've been reading in the comments is that people would like to see, especially the newer subscribers, would like to see some more drugstore videos. I have in the past month or so been showing predominantly more higher end products, or using more higher end products. So I agree, it was about time I did another drugstore video. And I love drugstore makeup. I love shopping for drugstore makeup. When I'm in Target, I always go down the makeup aisles. When I'm in CVS, Walgreens, I love to check out the newest things from Maybelline, L'Oreal, Rimmel, what have you, Wet n Wild. I will say this though, I am not the biggest fan of drugstore eyeshadows or eyeshadow palettes from the drugstore. I've yet to find one that really wowed me. The one I'm using in this video I do like, and I would recommend it. But if you are in the market for some affordable eyeshadows that I think are better quality than anything I've ever found at the drugstore, I would suggest going for Makeup Geek or Inglot. There are just some better quality products at the same price point than what you find at the drugstore, at least from what I've encountered. I don't really try a lot of eyeshadow palettes at the drugstore just because I have been so disappointed by them most of the time. So I just wanted to put that out there. Everything else in this video, I'm a really big fan of, especially the foundation I'm gonna be showing you, the concealer I'm gonna be showing you, the blush, the powder. So if you're interested in seeing how I got this spring makeup look using all drugstore products, then please keep on watching. So the first thing I'm applying is this Stay Matte Mattifying Primer from Rimmel. I talked about this in one of my most recent videos. It's really good. I actually prefer this one to the NARS Shine Control Pore Refining Primer. I think this one just does a much better job at both of those things and is like about a third of the cost. So the one item I'm using that's actually not from the drugstore, and it's just this one item, it's my eyeshadow primer. I have yet to find one from the drugstore that I'm really impressed with. I used to really love the Wet n Wild Take on the Day Shadow Primer, the Fergie one, but they have since changed the formula. So now I am back to square one and trying to find a good drugstore eyeshadow primer. So for now, I'm just using this one from Loreal. I go between this one and the MAC Prep and Prime 24 Hour. They last me a really long time. So while they're not drugstore priced, they will last a long time. And so I put this all over my eye from the lash line all the way up to the brow bone. So now that I'm all primed, I'm moving on to foundation. And today I'm gonna be using this Wet n Wild Photo Focus foundation. The shade I'm in is Beige Bisque. A lot of people have been talking about this foundation. I've heard mixed reviews on it. I actually really like it. I have been meaning to do a full review on this product. I just haven't gotten around to it. If you really do want a full review of this foundation, let me know in the comments and I will do that for you. But so far, so good. I'm really impressed. It's about $6 or $7, anywhere from $5 to $7, depending on when where you purchase it. So I'm obviously not gonna do a full review right now, but overall, I think the coverage is nice, the wear time is nice, it doesn't make me excessively oily. It's not a mattifying foundation, that's for sure, but overall, for someone with such oily skin like mine, it wasn't what I thought it would be. I thought it would be a disaster, and I'm actually really impressed with it. So again, the color I'm in is Beige Bisque. One of the things I don't like about this is the application method. This spatula thing, I don't really understand why they do this. I mean, I guess they want you to put it on the back of your hand and then apply it with a sponge or your fingers. I don't know. I just kind of go like this, and then I'm blending it out with my beauty blender. It's definitely not full coverage, but it is buildable. Another thing I like about it is that it really does not emphasize my pores at all. Now moving on to concealer, one of my favorites for many years now has been the Age Rewind from Maybelline. This is the shade fair. I just love the coverage this gives, and it doesn't sink into fine lines. And then I just pat it in with the Beauty Blender. And then I kind of drag the concealer down into a triangle shape. I don't load up this area with concealer like a lot of other YouTubers do and then start blending it out. I just feel like that always gets so heavy and it's so wasteful. So I just really apply the product right under the eye and then blend it out into that triangle shape. Now to add some contour and color to my face, I've been loving using this Maybelline Fit Me Shine Free Foundation in a really dark color. It's number 355 Coconut. And what I've been doing is I've been using this as a contour stick, and I just go right along my cheeks. I put a little over here because if you can see, this side is lower than this side. So I really just apply it right here to kind of even it out. Put a little here, but really I just kind of keep it up here. And then I put a little bit on the sides of my nose to contour my nose. And to blend it out, I'm using a dupe for the Artemis brush, oval brush set. This one is from my makeup brush set. And I'm just blending it out. Of course, this step is completely optional. You can just use powder or you can do no contouring at all. And then for my nose, I'm using a smaller one. I feel like these lights are making the contour look very obvious and extreme because I normally don't do a lot of contouring in my videos, but trust me, in person, it's a little bit different. It's not quite as stark. Now it's time to set everything, and I'm using the CoverGirl Professional Loose Powder in 105. This is my favorite drugstore powder. It's very finely milled. It's a great dupe for my other favorite, which is the Ben Nye Luxury Powder, which is not a very expensive powder, but it's not easily available at your local drugstore like this one is. So I put a bunch of it in the cap, and then I take my Beauty Blender and I just set my under eyes. And I'm setting under that contour. So you could call this quote unquote baking, but I'm not leaving it on very long at all. Pretty much once I've applied powder to the whole face, I go right in and dust it off. I don't really wait. And I like to dust a little bit on my lids to set that concealer too. So now I am setting my cream contour with some powder contour, and for that I am currently loving this palette from Flower Beauty. It is the Lift and Sculpt contouring palette, light to medium, and I'm using the sculpting shade, this kind of tan, gosh, why can't I think, bronze color, bronzing powder color. And the brush I'm using is a Morphe M438. So anytime I work with creams, I like to set them with powder. So now moving on to brows, my favorite drugstore product for the brows, hands down, is this NYX Micro Brow Pencil. You can pick it up at Ulta or CVS or online, of course. And I am in the shade Ash Brown, I think. Where is it? Yes, Ash Brown. And the reason why I use Ash Brown is because I find taupes to turn a little bit gray on me, and some other blonde shades are just too light. So I'm using Ash Brown. It's a great dupe for the Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Wiz. It has the spoolie on one end and then a twist up pencil on the other. Now, to be completely honest with you, there aren't many drugstore eyeshadows that I'm really in love with. I definitely tend to buy more high-end palettes, but I do have a couple that I really like. My favorite has to be this one from Rimmel. It is the Magnif'Eyes eyeshadow. So this palette is almost entirely shimmer. There's one matte shade somewhere in there. And none of these are overly shimmery, but if you're someone who just wants a palette that is completely matte, then this one would not be for you, because again, there's only that one shade that's matte in here. I'm gonna start with an underbrow highlight, but because this is a shimmery palette, I'm only using the slightest amount right at the arch of my brow. So I'm taking this third color in, and I'm placing that right under my brow, right under the arch. But I am gonna blend it across just a little. Now using this very inexpensive concealer brush I picked up from like a no-name brand at the drugstore, I'm going into this bronzy coppery shade right here, and I'm gonna be placing that all over my mobile lid. Zoom in a little bit. And I am taking this up into the crease. And being that these aren't the most pigmented eyeshadows I've ever worked with, I am going back in a couple times and just layering the color. Now taking a tapered crease brush, I believe this one is by Laura Mercier, but the name and number have come off of it. So I'm going into the silvery gray shade, and I know some of you are thinking, wow, that is really dark. Why are you using that? Trust me, it's not that pigmented. So sometimes not having very pigmented eyeshadows is actually a good thing, especially if you're a beginner. Sometimes less pigmented shadows are easier to work with because you can build them. Well, hopefully you can build them instead of applying the shadow and just having too much, and it's much more difficult to remove too much eyeshadow than to add more to build up the color. So I've gone into that gray, tapped off my excess, and now I'm just placing that right into my crease. And because I have hooded eyes, it's easier if I look right into the mirror and then push right into the hood and just blend back and forth. I'm kind of making little circles. And with a tiny brush like this particular one is from Stila, it's brush number 28. I'm going back into that bronzy color and lining my lower lash line. And with that same brush, I'm going into this plummy color, and I'm doing the same thing, but I'm focusing on the outer corner. Now with a Morphe M507, which is much smaller than the original crease brush I used, as you can see, this one I'm using to do the outer corners. And for the outer corners, I'm using this plum color again, the same one I just used on my lower lash line. And I'm just really focusing right on this outer corner. So I apologize, my camera overheated and cut out, but as you can see, I just placed that dark plum on the outer corner, and then I noticed I had a little fallout, so I did take a makeup wipe and wipe this area, and I'll have to add a little bit more concealer. I know some people just choose to wait to do their concealer afterwards for this reason, because you sometimes do get fallout, but I don't mind just touching it up. I just like the look of evening out the whole eye area before I begin my eyeshadow. It's just a personal preference, and once again, I don't mind just touching up this little bit of area if I get fallout. So now the eye is pretty much completed, but I want something to go in between that kind of coppery shade and that plum. So I'm taking this lavender-ish shade on my finger, and I'm just placing it right in between the two colors. And then if you feel like you've covered up too much of that plum with your finger, then just go back over. Don't add any more color to the brush, but just go back over and blend it out. So for this look today, I have decided to forego eyeliner, except I will be tightlining with my favorite eyeliner pencil, which is the L'Oreal Voluminous Smoldering eyeliner. I'm going to use this right up in here. If you would like to add eyeliner, liquid liner, gel liner, whatever liner you prefer on the top lash line, go right ahead and do that. But for me today, I am just going to tightline, and then I'm going to curl my lashes, add some mascara, and come right back. Now I just realized that I may have lied to you in the beginning of the video when I said the only non-drugstore product I would be using was the eyeshadow primer, but actually I do not have a drugstore mascara that I really love, so I did use the Too Faced Better Than Sex mascara. If you have a recommendation for me for an amazing drugstore mascara, I will say I believe I have tried them all, but if you have one that you think I should definitely give another chance or try for the first time that you think would be better than my Too Faced Better Than Sex, definitely let me know down in the comment section. So I apologize, the two non-drugstore items I used were the eyeshadow base and mascara. And of course it wouldn't be one of my tutorials if I didn't add some false lashes, but we're gonna do that at the end so you guys can see the completed look without false eyelashes, because I know many of you aren't into false lashes, so I want you to see the completed look without that, and then I'll add them at the end. So because I did have some fallout under the eye and I had to clean up with a wipe, so I am going to be putting a little bit more of this concealer right over here, and I'm sure some of you are wondering how I'm putting a cream over an area that I already set with powder. I just do. It just works. It's not that catastrophic usually, so especially with this product. So I'm just gonna take a little bit, just right here, just where I had that fallout, and then patting it out. So moving on to blush, I have always loved Milani's baked blushes. Luminoso, Rose d'Oro, Dolce Pink. I have them all in my collection and I love them. So when I was in CVS recently and I came upon this Bella Bellini shade, I thought it was absolutely stunning. Pretty much everything I wanted Benefits California to be, just a glowy, peachy, pink, golden sheen goodness, and it wasn't, but this is. Now the only caveat I'm giving you with this blush is that if you have a lot of texture on your skin, it does get very glowy and does emphasize some texture. Even though I have texture and large pores, I just think it's so pretty, I don't even really care. And I love that I don't have to use a highlighter. This is pretty much a blush and highlighter in one. See what I mean? It gives a really pretty glow. How pretty is this blush? I love it. So I'm finishing off with the lips, and I know this lip look is not going to be for everyone. I'm doing a very peachy, corally, kind of bright lip. So if you want to tone it down with a nude or a rose pink, you can definitely do that. But I am just loving a bright lip for spring and summer. So I'm using this lip liner from Maybelline. It is called 110 Purely Nude. I don't know who named this pencil because it is not nude at all. Now honestly, does this look like a nude lip liner to you? This is straight up coral pink, but I do love the texture of it. It goes on really, really nicely. It's definitely a dupe for the MAC retractable lip pencils. So the lipstick I'm using is from Rimmel. It's number 32 in the Lasting Finish by Kate Moss collection. And then to tone down the brightness just a tad, I'm using NYX Butter Gloss in Creme Brûlée. I'm just gonna really quickly pop on these lashes. They are Ardell number 122. As you can probably tell, I have worn these already, so I've already trimmed them to fit my eye shape. So I'm gonna pop these on and we will finish up. So this is the completed look with the lashes. One thing I forgot to do that I did on this eye is I forgot to add the inner corner highlight. So I'm taking a mixture of these two colors on a Delium Tools 716. I'm just going into both these colors and then putting a little bit right here in the inner corner of my eye. And now to set the entire look, I'm using this Wet n Wild Photo Focus Setting Spray. It's a little wet, but it does work. So I hope you all enjoyed this spring makeup tutorial using a full face of drugstore favorites. I promise you I will be bringing you more videos like this, more high-end videos, more middle-of-the-road videos. I use a little bit of everything, so I will make sure that I do a good combination of both. So as always, I really appreciate you taking the time to watch my video. If you're not subscribed to my channel already, please do. You can also follow me on Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, Facebook. All of those things are Risa Does Makeup. And I'll see you guys in my next video.